Gerunds. A gerund is a verb that's acting as a noun. In other words, the verb, the word that describes the action that's happening, like running, swimming, or speaking, becomes a thing, a concept that can now be the sentence's subject, direct object, indirect object, or the object of a preposition. All gerunds end with an ing. A gerund doesn't stop being a verb, but the role it plays in a sentence shifts from describing the action to being a focal point. In this lesson, we will learn about gerunds in detail. Types of gerunds. There are 6 types of gerunds. Subject. For example, writing is my newest hobby. Subject complement. For example, my preferred commuting method is riding. Direct object. For example, I love riding. Indirect object. For example, my sister gave riding a try. Object complement. For example, I see myself riding every day. Object of a preposition. For example, I blocked out a few hours this Sunday for riding. In all types, the gerund remains the same, however its placement in the sentence changes. More about gerunds. Unlike a normal noun, a gerund maintains some verb-like properties. Like a verb, a gerund can take a direct object and be modified with an adverb. For example, drinking from a flask. The gerund drinking has a direct object, a flask. Driving erratically. The gerund driving is modified with an adverb, erratically. Regularly visiting the stadium. The gerund visiting is modified with an adverb, regularly, and has a direct object, the stadium. Examples of gerunds. Gerunds can function as one of the following. The subject of a verb. The subject of a sentence is the person or thing doing the action or being described. For example, visiting India is always an experience. Visiting is the subject of the verb is. The object of a verb. The direct object of a verb is the thing being acted upon, that is, the receiver of the action. For example, I love visiting India. Visiting is the direct object of the verb, love. The object of a preposition. The object of a preposition is the noun or pronoun governed by a preposition. For example, I surprised them by visiting India. Visiting is the object of the preposition, by. A subject complement. A subject complement is a word or phrase that follows a linking verb and identifies or describes the subject. For example, my highlight was visiting India. Visiting is a subject complement. It completes the linking verb, was, and renames the subject, making it a subject complement. Gerund phrases. A gerund phrase is a phrase that contains a gerund and a modifier or an object and, in some cases, both of these. Let's look at some examples of gerund phrases. Apologizing to them. Underground exploring. A gerund phrase, just like a gerund, acts as a noun in a sentence. Take a look at how these gerund phrases play this role. Apologizing to them is important to me. My brother enjoys underground exploring with his friends. Why gerunds are important. Using gerunds and gerund phrases comes easily to native English speakers, and, as a rule, gerunds do not cause many writing issues. In fact, gerunds come so easily to native speakers, we can use them to create natural, flowing sentences. One of the biggest failings with business writing is using too many nouns, normal nouns, not gerunds. For example, we will discuss the reprimand of John for being in violation of the regulations. This sentence has overused nouns, making the sentence sound stilted. We can opt for nouns, and the prepositions needed to make those nouns work, to make our writing sound more corporate. Overusing nouns often makes the text harder to read as well as jolty and stale. Readers appreciate cleaner, smoother sentences. Producing cleaner, smoother sentences is best achieved with a bias for verbs in our word choice, but gerunds can also help. For example, we will discuss reprimanding John for violating the regulations. This 9-word version featuring 2 gerunds is far smoother than the 14-word version we saw earlier. It is crisper and shorter to read and saves time as well. Thank you.